Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. This is going to be a small set of videos going through the 3rd British Infantry Division, and I might hook on the end some other like guest units that I have done. So in a way you could say this is like another British Army overview, but done in a slightly closer detail style. The thing I didn't like about my last British Army update was A, it was quite long, B, there was a lot of stuff all squashed together on a 2x4 board, and you couldn't really see it properly, and I also skipped a lot of like little snippets of information just that might be interesting. So you know, for instance, obviously what the units are made out of by types of figure, any sort of little problems or stuff that I had with them, any sort of like you know, whether it's an early unit or a late unit, and any sort of changes that I've done to sort of update them, etc, etc. So I thought I'd do it by brigade as well. So there'll basically be for the British Infantry Division particularly, there will be 3 videos, each one covering a brigade, and I will stick the divisional artillery video onto the end of the Hanoverian Brigade, because there's only like literally, this is meant to be like 2 batteries of 9-pounders, and I only have 1 battery of 9-pounders, 1 battery of 6-pounders at the moment for my British artillery. But like I said in my last video, plans are definitely afoot to increase my British artillery, because I think they're like 3, maybe even 4 batteries of artillery behind my French. And although you know, historically there's only 1 battery in this particular division, I do want to get my British, obviously another battery of 9-pounders to properly complete the third British Infantry Division, but also to maybe like another battery of oh, I definitely want to get a pack of howitzers and another pack of 6-pounders, so I can make up a couple of mixed batteries as well. So a little bit of waffle at the start, sorry about that, but we'll get going. So this figure that you can see here, this is the chap that I used or am using to represent the head of the division, a chap called Lieutenant General Count Charles Allen. And strangely enough, you can't actually find, or at least I haven't found, a figure specifically meant to be this guy. I have been looking around on the Perry's site, and I have found a figure or 2 that I'd like to get eventually to replace this guy. I believe this chap is from the Peninsula Warlord Colonels pack, and I think he does make actually quite a good general figure. And when I do replace him, he will just become a spare brigade commander figure, not brigade commander, a spare general figure that you can just use if you're, you know, happen to need more than 1 general. So this is the head of the division, and you can see that I go for slightly smaller bases for command figures. And again, I've mentioned this many a time before, but the main reason being so it doesn't take up too much room on the table. But I think he turned out looking pretty nice. Simple scene. One of my staples is the sort of the muddy road, or a road. You can see this is kind of his horse is just feeding at the side of a road, or maybe a sort of maybe it's like a corner or something. But yeah, so that is the divisional commander, and we'll put him to the side. So next up, we're going to start going into the first brigade. and that is the 5th British Brigade. And we shall start off with the brigade commander. This is the chap that I use to represent him. Now this guy is quite a high rank for a brigade commander. He is a Major General, and it's Major General Sir Colin Halkett. And again, you can see that for brigade commanders, I put them on these 50 by 50 bases. I believe the divisional commander was on a 60 mm round base, or a 60 mm round base, and quite rare that this chap has actually got an extra figure on his base, because there's not a massive amount of room on these sort of smaller bases, but I think it works quite well. The passing a trooper and him giving him a sort of like a rifle musket salute as he goes by. And again, we have the muddy road format, and I believe this guy is from the Warlord Waterloo Colonel's Pack, and definitely one of the better figures out of that pack. Well, let's tell the truth, they're both actually pretty good. Both of the Colonel packs from Warlord are pretty good. It's quite easy for me to start complaining about the size of the horses, but I don't think it looks too bad against the size of the actual standing trooper there, and that's I think he makes quite a nice brigade commander, that chap. So that is Major General Sir Colin Halkett. Okay. So now we're going to start going into the units, and I thought I would go backwards, so starting from the bottom, and the very first unit we're going to bring in is the 73rd Foot, also known as the Perthshire Regiment. And it's quite a little interesting backstory in these chaps. When I was the way that I worked on these battalions, because this was my first brigade that I'd finished, these were the last unit to do, and I didn't do any research on them until I was about to do them. And when I got to these chaps, one of the first sort of semi-strange things that I came across with these guys compared to the unit I did before them, which would have been the 69th, that these guys have both those battalions have got very, very similar, if not exactly the same, coloured facings, which is a little strange. And the other interesting fact about these guys is that they're actually a Highland unit. And of course, when I was sort of researching these guys, as soon as I saw Highland unit, I started to panic, thinking that, oh no, I'm going to have to do a unit of Highland troops, and I really want to avoid doing those guys. And luckily, as I sort of continued doing a little bit more research, I found out that these were basically one of, I believe, 2 Scottish regiments that actually didn't wear kilts and wore trousers and more or less resembled a normal British foot trooper. So man was I relieved when I found out that snippet of information. Other interesting facts about this particular unit, I believe these guys are made up of all Perrys. I've only had one box of British Perrys, and this again is the only unit in my entire army that its command group is, including the drummer and the sergeant, are actually all plastic, and actually from that same box set. So, and again, you can tell this is one of my older units because I don't have a second officer at the back there. But yeah, I think these guys came out looking pretty cool. I'll give you a little slightly closer look at them. So here we have the plastic Perry's Sergeant from the Perry's plastic box. I think he's a great sergeant figure. At the time when I decided to use the plastics, I did really like the look of the Perry's plastic British. I'm not as much a fan of the French Perry's plastic command that you actually get in their boxes, and I believe the only figures that I've ever used from those guys is the Colour Party and perhaps one of the drummers. I'm not a massive fan of the officer. In fact, I believe of the two boxes that I've had so far, one of the officers made it into my little single 9-man unit of voltigeurs, and the second one is actually still in my spares box. So yeah, this is the command group of the 73rd Foot, and you can see that this is one of those units that I had to trim a little bit off the flag to be able to get it to fit on the pole. So maybe at one point in the future I might go back and obviously it will require me having to buy replacement flags and just use a sort of front rank poles and tassels, but luckily this particular flag is not actually cut down that much. I believe I managed to trim a little bit off the bottom here, and I don't think I even had to touch the top part like I had to on some of my earlier units from this brigade. So yeah, so that is the 73rd Regiment of Foot, and you can see that these guys have got a green drummer with gold lacing, so quite a posh drummer for these guys. So that is the 73rd Foot. Let's move those guys out of the way, and we'll move on to the next brigade, or next battalion I mean, and that will be the 69th. Let's just get those chaps out of the way. Oh, I did forget to mention that these guys have got a single metal figure, which is the sapper, and you can see that I actually went back and changed the colour of his apron from white to the leather look, because I think it's a really nice look. I believe I've done that to everyone apart from perhaps one, who is a Hanoverian sapper, who I decided to leave white. But yeah, so that's the only metal figure in that particular battalion. Okay, we'll go on to the next battalion. Next battalion. Okay. So here we go, and these guys are the 69th Regiment of Foot, and they are the Lincolnshire Regiment, and they're commanded by, did I mention who commands these guys, the 73rd? I can't remember if I did or not, but I'll quickly zap that in. These guys are led by a Lieutenant Colonel W.C. Harris from the 73rd Foot. And these chaps, the 69th, are commanded by Major General Muttleberry. So again, quite a high-ranking commanding officer for these chaps. Let's move those back in. Now, makeup of these guys are, I believe, mostly Perrys. These were basically the second regiment that were made up out of that same my only Perry's box, but I do believe these chaps have a fully metal command, and the only guy, again you can tell this is quite an early unit, they don't actually have a dedicated sergeant figure in this particular unit, which is something I might update in the future. but they do have a sapper, again with the leather apron. I believe he's a Perry's, and the drummer I believe is metal. I believe he could be a Perry's as well. Again, you can see what I mean about the similar sort of facings. The drummer's got more or less an identical tunic on, and their facings are also made up of the green and gold, just like the 73rd, or the 69th I mean. No, 73rd. And again we will try and get rid of that cat hair. There we go, that's the drummer. And the command group, let me just have a quick look. Oh, there's the sergeant actually. The sergeant is actually in the command stand. So again, you can tell this is like one of my early units actually. This would have been my 3rd British unit I would have done before my obsessiveness of putting in 2 officers into a command party. But I believe these guys could be Perry British Command, including the sergeant there. And there's the flags, and I believe again I managed to salvage most of this, the flag that I had to cut down from below, rather than having to cut into the Union Jack at the top. So that is the 69th. And like I say, these guys are all made up of, or at least the rank and file are made up of British Perry's. So yeah, that's those. Let's move those guys out of the way. Halfway through now, chaps. Next up, we have oops. Here we go, these guys are the 30th, I believe. The 30th Foot, and these guys are the Cambridgeshire Regiment of Foot. And the commanding officer of these chaps, again if we set the base up, you can see that these guys are actually on the original Warlord bases. So we have the Cambridgeshire Regiment 30th of Foot, and they're led by Commander Lieutenant Colonel M.W. Bailey. And you can see that this again is one of my older units because they're missing a 2nd officer. And I believe these chaps are Warlord Command. And I believe, yes, I believe they're British Warlord Command, because I did actually mix in a few. I mixed together a few of the Hanoverian command, the Warlord Hanoverian commands, to make some alternate officers. I can't remember if this guy is actually originally a British command officer, or whether he's borrowed from one of the Hanoverian command packs. But he's quite a nice figure, and you can see that one of the other things that I went back and updated was I like my command figures to have their white gloves on, and you can see that this particular officer in this position is actually holding his gloves. So I believe he's like, unless I've got another copy of this guy somewhere, which I don't think I have, he would be literally the only officer figure to have uncovered hands. And and obviously he's a trooper, so he wouldn't have covered hands, but the command party has, and that was me updating them when I did my last update of these guys. When I believe I just went in and tidied up a lot of their facings and sorted out the flank company problem of, you know, the classic noob move of when you first start of not realising that the guys with the shoulder, the bird's nests on the shoulders, are the actual flank companies. So that is the command group. I believe the drummer, I believe he could be a warlord drummer, this guy. Not 100% sure, but you can see that they've got yellow facings with white lacing for the drummer. Made up of warlord figures, these guys, I believe. It looks like they are. So here's the light company, for instance, they're all warlord. And I believe they're also all on the warlord bases that came in the Waterloo starter set as well. And these guys do have a sergeant, and this was, of course, I believe I did a video on these guys when I updated them. The sergeant is a front rank sergeant, and he replaced the old warlord sergeant figure, and he had originally a miscast top of the pike, and so I got sent another one by front rank, and this guy, by chopping up the original warlord sergeant's pike, I stuck the top of his pike onto the front rank sergeant, so making him a complete figure again and giving these guys a really classy sergeant figure. Yeah, very happy with the new look of these guys. And of course these guys are also a silver, I believe they're silver, the officers have silver epaulets rather than gold, but these particular ones, they don't actually have epaulets. So they do. There you go. So he's got an epaulet over there, and it's silver. So that was one of the things I changed when I was doing the update, because there's actually a mixture of some British regiments have gold epaulets, and there's others that have silver. So that is the 30th Regiment of Foot, or the Cambridgeshire Regiment, or Cambridgeshire Foot Regiment. So that's those chaps, and of course they also have a sapper, and I did actually quite recently go in and update his leather apron from white. So there's the 30th. We'll get those guys out of the way. Right, we're now down to the final unit of this brigade. And that is my very first British unit, the 33rd Regiment of Foot, which I'm sure is a unit that a lot of people perhaps think about using, because you do actually get the flags included in a few box sets. I believe Victrix are one of them that they give you the 33rd flag, and I believe, I can't remember for sure, but I believe the Parrys do as well. I'm not 100% sure. But of course all my flags are GMB, apart from some of the Hanoverian flags. So here we have, like I said, the 33rd Regiment of Foot, also known as the 1st West Riding, and I believe they're also known as the Duke of Wellington's Regiment, which is quite interesting. I've actually only recently just found that out. So here we go. Now these guys have been through a couple of phases of doing updates, one of which was literally a few days ago. But you can see that their drummer has a white jacket with red facings, and that was one of the updates that I did. I've been wanting to update the drummer's jacket for a long time, and it's quite unique as well. I really did quite like the look of it, so I went ahead and did it. So that was one of the more modern improvements. And again, the command group was made up of 3 Warlord command group, and the sergeant was in the 4th place, with his pike sticking out and interfering in the base next to it. And I had a single normal trooper figure where the sergeant is now, and I've actually got him up here now loose, and he'll probably end up being on perhaps a command stand or something a bit later on in the future. It's always handy to have painted figures loose and handy for sticking onto command bases. The sergeant I went in and did a little bit of tidying up on because he was a little bit rough. So he's had a little bit of a general tidy up. I believe I also updated their facings the very first time I did like a major update of my older figures. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way these guys are at the moment. A lot of my early units have had updates now, and I'm very happy with the state that they're in. Sorry, just I saw an annoying hair again on these chaps. For some reason, these annoying hairs like to elude me until they're on camera. And then of course they stick out like a sore thumb. Now this is obviously a hair that's got into the flocking. It might even be a long piece of grass. But I believe I can pick most of them off. But again, you can see there's another one that's eluding me there. There we go. Just one more there. There we go. So that is the sergeant stand that's been updated. I also updated the apron on the sapper, and a little bit of an Easter egg slapped into this particular command unit now. As you can see, we have a Warlord command party made up of the 2 flag bearers, and we have this officer that's appeared out of the blue, and I've actually, as a bit of an Easter egg, slapped my British female officer into the back there, and I think she looks pretty good actually. She painted up very well, and I really do like her, and because I had an officer space handy, I threw her into the background, and I don't think you'd actually be able to tell it's a female figure unless you actually go in and have a real careful look, but obviously I know she's there. It's funny because I was I think is it Battle Bunker? I was chatting with him when I first sort of showed these guys in a video, whether I was sort of debating whether to use her in a battalion or not, because I thought, well, if I put her in there, then like all the beards would be like having a heart attack. You know, it's like, oh my god, this guy's put a female officer in a historical unit. All the blasphemy. But I thought, yes, well, I need an officer. I've got one, and I'll slap her in. And like I say, you can't really tell it's a female unless you really look. And of course, I know she's there. and seeing I generally play on my own solo, I really don't mind her being there. But I really do like that particular figure. So that is the 33rd, and that completes this first video of the 3rd British Infantry Division. So bit of waffle now. I've had a couple of subscribers, so thank you to those guys. I think I'm up to 289 now, so I'm getting close to 300. And of course I've been watching all your videos, and as you all know, that with all this hype about viruses and stuff, you know, let's hope everyone decides to stay inside, and hope that that their works take actions to allow you to work from home or whatever. And I'll catch you all in the next video, which will probably be pretty soon. So until then, catch you next time. Bye bye.